We're going to get into the war, McChrystal, the oil spill, a bunch of other issues, but I wish you knew what I knew about the new season of Conspiracy Theory with Tζέσι Βεντούρα coming up in the fall. Now, you were worried, Governor, last time that it wouldn't air, and you had a bet with the crew and with myself and others that it wasn't going to air, and then it did air and got top ratings. Now, you say you're getting a lot more resistance. Do you think there's a chance it won't air this time?
Well, if it don't, it won't be from the people at True TV, Mark Juris, because he's assured me. In fact, he told me point blank, eye to eye, that it never ever entered a conversation that these shows wouldn't air. And so, unless I fully now expect them to air. I mean, they let the first season go. I mean, how would they now come out for the second round and say no, these can't? So, I'm moving forward with the full anticipation that they'll all be on.
Well, it's also a #1 show, so if something happens there, you're going to be able to find another venue if you choose to continue your important work.
Well, I don't know, because let's all remember a lot of the TV stations fall under the same corporate umbrella. That situation does loom out there, and just like what I've learned through the grapevine, things pass through the grapevine and you learn a lot more 5-7 years later. I now learned that MSNBC badmouthed me and said that I was impossible to work with and all sorts of nonsense like that because of when I didn't get my TV show, because I opposed the invasion and the war in Iraq.
Well, I wanted to bring that up. National polls now show that Obama is dipping below 40 points. He's losing his Democrat support. He's now expanded more wars than George Bush has, statistically, according to the Washington Post as well. I mean, this war situation just goes on and on and on. What's your view on that?
Well, for me, it's as simple as this, Alex. It's time to end this nonsense. We're the only country in the world that is occupying other countries and invading other countries. We're the only one. Nobody else out there is occupying anybody. And my view is let's not only bring the troops home, let's bring how many 78 foreign bases or whatever ridiculous amount it is all throughout the world. Let's come home. That day should be over with. That's my opinion. People may not agree with me, but my opinion is enough of this.
Well, we wouldn't be bankrupt if we weren't trying to be an empire. And the point I always try to point out is the American people pay for this empire, but we're not getting any of the goods that are being extracted. And that would be immoral even if we were. But this idea that we're going to get the money from the $1 trillion of lithium or we're going to get the oil. No, we fit the bill for these multinational corporations that use our nation as their muscle.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's not new. Go back and read about two-time Congressional Medal of Honor winner, General Smedley Butler. He wrote a great book way back in the early part of the last century, talking about in the end of his fabulous military career, he felt that they were nothing but the strong arm for corporate America down in Central and South America. That when they wouldn't cooperate, they sent Smedley and the Marine Corps in. And that's what I got in trouble about a month and a half ago, or whatever, 2 months, maybe longer now. I don't know, time flies when you're having fun. But I went on Fox News and stated unequivocally, I said, why does this country think that we're so shocked that we would get attacked by terrorists if indeed we did, to the level we have? And I said, when we've been practicing terrorism for 50 years, we just call it foreign policy.
Well, now they have over 1,000 drones operated by the Pentagon and the CIA separately, where people 10,000 miles away, 25-year-olds, are piloting drones. And now the headline in the AP was, CIA to now kill with drones unnamed terrorists. And if they just see someone with a gun in Pakistan or Afghanistan, they drop a Hellfire missile on them. And they admit, if we kill 150 people at a wedding to kill one bad guy, that's okay. Since when is dropping a bomb on a wedding and killing a bunch of men, women, and children because they think one bad guy may be there, since when is that not terror?
Well, and not only that, but look what we've done to Cuba for 50 years. Cuba has done nothing to us. know, yeah, we've blown up ships in their harbor. We've attempted to destroy their cane field, attempted to destroy their economy. We put an embargo on them that has caused them nothing but suffering down there. We've attempted to kill their president. And, of course, you're familiar with the character Orlando Bosch, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, well, here's a guy that blew up a Cuban plane with 73 civilians on it.
And he was admittedly CIA.
And he gets pardoned by George Bush Sr.
He was admittedly CIA and got pardoned by George Bush Sr., blew up the Olympic team, the Cuban Olympic team. But on top of that, we have the ABC News headline, U.S. government plan to terrorize cities as pretext for war with Cuba. They had a 9/11 style attack planned to be blamed on Cuba, but Kennedy said no.
Exactly. And that was way back in '61, called Operation Northwoods. And the point of the matter is, and why do you think Che Guevara grew to hate us so much? Here was a guy who was a medical doctor, someone that took the oath of healing, and he ended up a revolutionary that murdered people and all of that. But the big question to ask is, why did he feel that way? Well, he felt that way when he took the motorcycle ride in South America, and he saw indigenous people that had lived on the land for 200 to 300 years being forced off the land by United Fruit and U.S. corporations. That's why we're hated so much throughout the world, is because we inflict ourselves upon. And another thing to where we inflict is in this so-called war on drugs. That's just an excuse to give us a military presence in all these other countries.
Well, I mean, the Pentagon knows, our own government knows, that if they decriminalize drugs, almost all the crime will disappear like a vapor, and that Mexico is collapsing because of the drug war down there, the cartels battling each other, and you've got the cartels that are allied with the government who pay the government off, waging war on the other cartels that aren't laundering their money through U.S. banks. That's what the whole war is really about. And now, Governor, I know you've been out of the country and on the TV show, Fox News interviewed a Marine Corps colonel who admitted, yes, we grow the opium over there. We have to, or the Taliban will get the market. You know, that's the excuse in the 1980s of shipping the crack cocaine in was, well, if we don't ship it in, somebody else will. I mean, this is incredible. So they're now admitting, even in Reuters and AP, that our government is producing the opium in Afghanistan.
Well, it doesn't surprise me because by everything that I've read, when the Taliban took over, they put them out of business. But they took these guys and started tossing them in jail and stuff and literally shut down the opium business. And what's interesting is it coincides perfect with the collapse of the banks. And now the opium business is back up full throttle again, and the banks are back doing good business, aren't they?
$500+ billion a year out of Afghanistan alone, laundered, leveraged. That's you can leverage it 10 times through the fractional reserve banking. Good point, Governor Ventura. Governor Tζέσι Βεντούρα joins us. His new book is several months on the New York Times bestseller list, as high as number 4. Tζέσι Βεντούρα, American Conspiracies. It's also available at Infowars.com. I think the good news here, though, is your show #1 for a new show on True TV. Your book a bestseller. Judge Andrew Napolitano is the best guy on Fox, anti-corruption. His new show premiered on Fox Business, highest ratings ever on that network. Anybody who tells it like it is successful, and I think that's a mirror of the state of the country. There is an awakening happening. Are you seeing that when you travel around America?
I'm starting to see the kindling starting again. You know, some people have gotten in contact with me, that have said that the Tea Party has been taken over by, Sarah Palin and them, but there still is a core group of Tea Party people out there, the Ron Paul people. And they're out there, and they're starting to grumble a little bit, and we're starting to see more. But I have to tell you something, Alex, I no longer support the third party movement.
Why is that?
Well, I know you'll find that shocking, but here's why. I believe so strongly that that the two parties make the rules, and for any third party to play in the game, they're going to have to corrupt themselves just like the Democrats and Republicans do. Well, we already have a two-headed monster. Why would we want a three-headed one? Instead, this is my position now. My position now is I want political parties banned. Get rid of them.
Well, the founders had a big debate about that because look at the parliamentary system in England. You can have 4 or 5 parties. The same special interests just buy them all off.
Well, the thing is this. We've already got two corrupt parties. Why do we need a third? And for me, it's mostly in the voting booth, Alex. You can still have political parties. They can still endorse, but no one can officially be part of them. We need to turn them into being nothing more than lobbyists, too.
Well, that's an interesting idea because...
And that way, wait, let me finish. And that way, when you go in to vote, all you see is the name John Smith. It doesn't say John Smith Republican, John Smith Democrat. See, people are given the scapegoat of being able to vote for the party rather than the person. This forces you to go back voting for the person rather than the party.
Wow, that's a really good idea, because then you also don't have the mafia of the parties who, when new congressmen and women come in, they tell them you're not going to have any authority or power unless you play ball, and then the vote is negated.
Exactly. Turn the parties into nothing more than lobbyists.